Yo, what up guys? Travic here. Today I want to talk about changes that I've made to the Huntress. There's a couple of things going on. You guys have reached out and you asked me to make changes and updates and to make it tankier. And I said, okay, let's do it. So last night I got together with a couple friends. We started, talking about it. I went to my buddy MB3, who I showcased in the last video. He's having great success with tankiness on his Huntress, and we started getting to work. We made some changes both to the skill gems. We made some changes both to the passive tree, and we made some changes to the equipment that are gear that we have on now. And all of these changes combined together work in unison to give us the ability to be tanky. Currently, our Huntress has capped resistances. It has over-capped resistances. We have about 55% to dodge, which will go up as we get better gear. And overall, we just have a little bit of sustainability with our life and energy shield. You'll notice that we have 1800 life, 1200 energy shield. Now, I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, but that's not a whole lot. That's not enough to keep us alive. What else are you doing? Well, let's start with our skills. First and foremost, we got more spirit, which allow us to add Ghost Dance. Ghost Dance is giving us energy shield equal to 7% of our evasion. So every time we get hit, we have 5 Ghost Shrouds, we take a hit, we gain 7% of our energy shield, or our energy shield equal to 7% of our evasion. So whatever our evasion rating is times 7%, or whatever yours is times 7%, every time you gain a hit, you gain that much life back. And we're pairing that with fast forward, so that effect happens quite often. That's the first thing that we did. The second thing that we did is we just qualityed everything to make sure everything was up and running, and we gave ourselves a Stormlance 6 socket with putting in Deliberation here and Martial Temple here. This allows us to get more damage alongside our survivability, so that while we're tanky, we are now doing more damage. So that's the first thing that we did. Now you're gonna say to me, wait a minute, how did you get the spirit? You have 240 spirit. Where does the extra spirit come from? What changed in your gear? Now, what's changed in our gear that allows us to make this happen? First and foremost, we need a bunch of spirit. In our previous iteration of this build, we got a ton of spirit from our body armor, which hasn't changed. Eventually we'll get a better body armor, and we're getting a ton of spirit from our our amulet, which also, once again, really hasn't changed. But the big takeaway, or the thing that has changed, has been our helmet. We did spend a couple of divines to buy a crown of eyes with a spirit enchant. We made sure that the amount of spirit that we obtained was an even number. So if I had gotten 22 spirit, I would have been at 239. We bought this enchant to give us more spirit, specifically for the 240, for 2 major reasons. First and foremost, we want to be able to fit in Ghost Dance. Ghost Dance becomes a huge defensive layer on everything that we're doing, and it helps to keep us alive. Second off, because we hit an even amount of spirit, that being 240 versus 239, we're getting more damage out of our Thread of Light, and it gives us an extra 12% spell damage per 10 spirit. So because of that, we are gaining more spirit. Now, based upon you, when you go to make changes, if you choose to go down this route and make these changes, you just kind of want to take a look at the spirit that you have, the spirit on your chest plate, the spirit on your amulet, and do the math accordingly when you're buying a crown of eyes to give you enough spirit to hit that breakpoint. If it's out of budget and it happens, don't worry about it. You'll probably upgrade your gear later. And what do I mean by upgrade your gear later? First and foremost, I would love to upgrade this body armor. I would love to have just more evasion and energy shield alongside the resistances that I have now. Having more evasion and more energy shield would be massive, as it would allow us to increase the amount of evasion rating we have here and allow us to just have more effect from our Ghost Dance. That's the first thing that I would like to change. Second off, because I now have so many overcapped resistances, I would like to get a better amulet with crit multi, but that's something down the line. We're not too worried about it. I'd also like to change the spell damage off of this amulet, 2% energy shield, to give us a little bit more tankiness. The rest of the gear hasn't really changed too much. We still have Tangle Tongue. We did change the runes. We'll talk about those in a second. We still have Thread of Light. Nothing's changed there. Our boots still the same. Eventually, we'd like to get more energy shield on the boots if possible, but the life roll's really, really, really nice. And then our belt has a large amount of life and resistances. We currently moved off of Ingenuity. The biggest reason that we moved off of Ingenuity is my current rolls on my Ingenuity are indeed terrible. My Ingenuity has increased charm charges used, which is really bad. I would like to have negative charges used or reduced charges used. And my percent bonuses to my equipped left and right ring are really low. I would eventually like to get an Ingenuity that has 3 charm slots. The amount of increased charges gained reduce charges used, and percents to left and right ring closer to 30. As that happens, I would make the swap with this belt here, and I would get a lot of effect for my rings. But until I have a better ingenuity and can afford a better ingenuity, this is getting shelved. Outside of that, we have not really a lot of changes with the rings. Our left ring is still the same. I have been searching for a ring, very similar stats on a better base. There hasn't been anything too affordable for my price range, but eventually I'll change this ring out, hopefully with a breach ring or something of the sort that just gives me more damage. I'd also like to finish quality in this ring. The same thing with this ring. We did indeed change the right ring out. We went for a ring that opts in for physical attack damage leeches life. This is going to be a big component to making our build a lot tankier and giving us the survivability that you are looking for. Essentially, what happens is we're going to need a way to sustain our life inside of a map, and having life leech is one of the big ways to do it. Because of life leech, we're able to really just kind of like take a hit, throw our spear, while our spear is bouncing all around and we take that hit, we start recovering, and it works out really, really, really well. Our ring is also giving us flat lightning damage, evasion, a ton of life, and resistances. If you're shopping for rings, something that you need to know. First and foremost, you do not need an unset ring. It's just what I had. It's what the guy was selling on trade. It works out great, but you do not need it. The only reason you would need an unset ring is if you want to use more skills like Barrage. I currently have a blink setup in right now. This is literally just for Sakhemis farming. You do not need this. I turn off Cast When Shock and turn on blink while Sakhemis farming. You don't need it. But our ring does one thing very, very, very important. It gives us a ton of lightning damage, and it gives us leech. First and foremost, the flat lightning damage on our ring accounts for about 11,000 tooltip. It's a lot more than that with POE and how things work, but flat lightning is massive. Second off, you want to have life and evasion, or like life and whatever else you need. And you want to have resistances covering your resistances, and then physical damage leeches life. The reason why we want physical damage leeches life is because we are pairing it with these gloves. We have changed out our Leopolds. Our Leopolds, while they are absolutely fantastic and they are a ton of damage, do nothing for our survivability. I tested taking off Leopolds, and I killed a tier 4 boss. Well, I killed Zarkoth with the relic for minus 75%. I'll show you that clip in a minute. But I took off the Leopold gloves for a more defensive option, going for these. Essentially, what these gloves are doing is they're giving us flat lightning damage, which I had just showcased is a ton of damage on our lightning spear. It's giving us a little bit of int to free up requirements. It's giving us lightning resistance, and it's giving us one very important thing. It's giving us life leeches converted to energy shield. This line is massive. This line paired with this line gives us energy shield leech, which helps keep us alive. Now, if you've played Path of Exile 2, we all know energy shield is so strong in PoE 2, and we want to take full advantage of being able to recover it at will. Eventually, with getting a better body armor and a better necklace, we're able to push our evasion and energy shield really to the moon and give us a nice, huge defensive layer. Currently, we have 1250, but it wouldn't be very hard to push it a lot higher. So that's the gear. So we've got some changes. Let's recap. First and foremost, we have a helmet now with Spirit. We're aiming for a body armor with more evasion and energy shield. We're aiming for an amulet with more energy shield. We have a new ring that gives us physical damage leeches life. And we have gloves that are converting our life leech to energy shield. Now, because we have all this, we have to make changes to our trait. First and foremost, you're going to notice the biggest change. We are no longer taking penetrate. Bunch of players have I know, I don't want to drop penetrate. A bunch of people were like, drop infused weapon. I don't want to drop infused weapon. I think infused weapon's still really, really, really good. We dropped penetrate. Why did we drop penetrate? First and foremost, we wanted to pick up life leech recovers based on your elemental damage as well as physical damage. This is massive. This is a huge source of sustain. You're going to see this in a map. We're going to take a hit. We're going to just completely hit one time and fill all of our life total up. Because this pairs with this, that pairs with this, one spear on a mob will just completely full heal us, and we're really strong. Yes, I know penetrate was really strong. Yes, I'm aware. Because we are no longer taking out penetrate, we need to change the runes inside of our Tangle Tongue. Yes, accuracy was the best in slot, but we did change it up to physical based runes because Fizz seems to be the better multiplier in Path of Building compared to critical strike damage. If you guys see otherwise, please let me know. I'd love to know if I did something wrong, assuming the POB numbers are right. Outside of that too, crit runes are really expensive and fizz runes are really cheap. And the number difference looks to be about 1% in favor of fizz, but I could be wrong. Double check my math if you're, but it looks like fizz damage, because we take off penetrate, is the play, at least in this setup. If you're doing a completely different setup with crit multi anywhere else on your gear, then crit multi runes would be better. Like if I had crit multi on my amulet, crit multi runes would then be better here. If I had crit multi on my gloves, crit multi would be better here. If I had crit multi anywhere, crit multi would be better here. So that's the biggest change that we made. So we make that change. Now the tree in itself, because we drop Leopolds, we want to take other things to give us sustain and survivability. So you're going to notice a couple of changes. First and foremost, the change here, we make this change here so that we can free up a couple of points. We come down here, we are no longer taking the LE pen nodes because we changed our gloves out. We swap from crit bonus over here to crit chance to guarantee we cap our crit. We come down over here, we're still taking the magnitude of shock. We're still taking Falcon Dive and acceleration. We still have the spear wheel down here. We still have heralds. And the big change that you're going to notice is we have the evasion nodes here. We are taking enhanced reflexes now for enhanced rating, for enhanced evasion rating or increased evasion rating. And we are taking bestial skin to give us the double evasion rating for our body armor. This is why it's really important that we get a better body armor and we push that evasion rating really, really, really high. Now you're going to notice too that everything else is roughly the same, except this node here. I took the ingenuity node temporarily to free up stats on my gear. I actually could drop it in the current state of things. I no longer need it and I can move the point elsewhere. I will POB where I'm going to put the point and how I'm going to do things. And then once I figure that out, I'll make a note about it. I'll update the mobalytics and you guys will have the most up-to-date mobalytics after you watch this video. But otherwise, the tree in itself is still relatively the same. Not a whole lot changes outside of right here and this whole wheel here. We might even put the point here for more evasion rating. We put the point here, maybe get the level and put the point here. It all kind of depends on how everything falls together in terms of POB and numbers. So that's the major changes there. Now, with all of that put together, we are able to clear everything and it runs smoothly. The last thing that I want to talk about before I showcase the map and before I showcase the boss kill that I did is our skill gems. Last time that we made a video, you guys have asked me, can we six link our Stormlance? What's going on? How are things changing? And we talked a little bit earlier very briefly about adding in Ghost Dance, but let's go over skill gems in more depth right now. First and foremost, we still have Inhibitor. Inhibitor is just a floating gem here for while you're bossing. We are swapping Inhibitor out in our long shot so that we can generate frenzy charges and maintain frenzy charges for Stormlance. But that's, we'll get there in a second. Our infused weapon now has blind in it, maim, strip away, lightning exposure, and now it has culling strike. We are using infused weapon to do one thing, and it does one thing very, very, very well. It is an ultimate support skill and a great utility, especially while we're bossing. It does a couple of things. First, it's blinding the enemy, giving us a better chance of hitting it. Blind is reducing their accuracy and evasion rating, allowing us to crit the bosses and everything better. We have maim, which is giving them 30%, slower movement speed and reducing their evasion rating. We have lightning exposure, which is stripping away 20% of their resistances. And we have strip away, increasing that effect by another 20. So we're removing 40% of their resistances. And then lastly, we're using culling strike to just give us that little bit of extra edge to clear off the extra 5 or 10% of monsters' lives. Our lightning spear has a couple of changes. First and foremost, you guys have suggested martial tempo. I am currently playing around with martial tempo, and the attack speed is relatively nice and noticeable. We have Volt. Volt still is a powerhouse and MVP. I know a lot of people are suggesting Fork. You can use Fork and Volt. You could put Fork in spot of martial tempo, but I really like martial tempo. I think Volt does a fantastic job of clearing alongside frenzy charges. Bullseye gives us more accuracy rating for more crit. We have primal armaments for more weapon damage, and we have long shot, which we mix around with inhibitor for when we're bossing. Our Stormlance is now 6 socket. We have scatter shot still. We have blindside, which gives us more crit. We have lightning infusion for more lightning damage, overextend for more critical strike damage, and we've now added deliberation for 20% more damage. We took it off of our lightning spear and put it onto our Stormlance. This way we have better movement while we're playing with our lightning spear, and we have Stormlance that we don't really care if we're just slow. We throw it once in a while. It doesn't matter. Everything works out fine. It is an absolute banger of a 6 slot. If you have suggestions for a better 6 slot, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Our cast on crits, nothing's changed. We have Sniper's Mark, Energy Retention, Impetus, and Profusion to generate double charges. I have a Blink setup in currently because I have that extra skill socket. This Blink setup is 110% only used for Sekhemis running. When I do Sekhemis, because that's my favorite content in the game, I shut off cast on crit, I turn on Blink, I blink all around Sekhemis, I get it done, I get to the boss in Sekhemis, and I swap back to cast on crit. You do not need to make this change. You do not need to add in Blink. You do not need it. I only use it for Sekhemis, and if you're Sekhemis running, it is really good. Our Combat Frenzy now only has Mysticism, isn't it? We dropped the Clarity. We don't need it. It was just there to use up Spirit, but we're using Mysticism now. Especially since we have Life Leech as Energy Leech, we are pretty much always on full Energy Shield, giving us 30% more spell damage, and spell damage scales with our helmet, giving us more attack damage. Herald of Thunder, nothing's changed. Electrocute, Neural Overload, and Innervate. Our Wind Dancer has Precision and Pin in it. We have Barrage, because Barrage is super fun to play with, and I really like using Barrage a lot with Twofold, so that it has a, benefits from consuming charges, has 20% chance to be doubled, and pre-med to give us a ton more damage. I think Barrage is super fun to play with, dude. I really like playing with Barrage. We have the Sniper's Mark with the Inspiration. The Sniper's Mark is used for bossing, and we now have the added Ghost Dance with the Fast Forward to make Ghost Dance happen faster. Our bossing rotation, because we went over skills, really simple. You are going to Sniper's Mark the boss, Lightning Spear the boss, generating a Frenzy Charge, and then kill the boss with our Stormlance. You don't need 4,672 buttons. It works out great. I actually have a clip to showcase to you guys about what this looks like, so let's swap over to that. This clip here is before I had Ghost Dance put in, and this is a trial run, and the boss here has minus 75% damage taken. And you'll see, like I had mentioned, I swap out the inhibitor for the long shot, I put on cast one crit, I generate my Frenzy Charge, and I start hitting him with Stormlance. Now remember, he takes 75% less damage, and this is the damage with the changes. Now, of course, there are boons that come into play and stuff like that, but 75% less damage is a lot. And we weren't able to phase it before this phase, but it still overall goes really, really, really well, and we don't really have to worry too much because our damage is completely insane. We finish this phase up, we put our cast on crit back on just for this boss, and we get our Frenzy Charge, and we just completely and utterly light him up without any problems. And there's just showcase, you're going to see in a second, the Against the Darkness Jewel is going to fall, and that's how you know we use the relic for him to take 75% less damage. There's the Against the Darkness, and we see that it goes very well. The last thing to talk about, the last thing to show is what does it look like in a map? So let's go find out. Let's walk on over to our stash and let's go see. We have a map. We're going to grab this white map and we're just going to try to bring it really up there and really juice it, as much as we can. We're going to hit it with a Regal Orb. You're going to see it's got a bunch of life on it. We're going to hit it with a couple of these and we're just going to do a map and see what happens. Usually what players would say is, oh my God, I ran a map. I fell over. Now what? Holy crap. This sucks. But let's just go bring it in. We're going to do this map. It has a bunch of league mechanics on it. We have Expedition, Ritual, and Breach. And we're just going to see how it goes and what happens. I'm going to attempt to take a hit and show you guys what it looks like and how the regen looks like. You guys will see it will be fine. It'll be like a night and day difference. Like, you should be great. Let's kind of go in here. You see that we took the hit there. We took a hit again. Our leech just kicked in. It healed us fully. We took a hit there. Our leech healed us fully from Wind Dancer, killed all the mobs and healed us. So look, we're half health. We hit the mobs and now we're full energy shield. And that's literally what's going on. We have now defensive layers that are just healing us immediately, making mapping a really smooth experience. You're going to see too, our damage is still just fine for mapping. We're able to go into maps and we're able to do everything that we were doing beforehand without giving ourselves a whole lot of problems. We're going to place our big bomb. We're going to make sure there's nothing too crazy on it. Actually, we're going to replace our big bomb. We want to make sure that we're getting this quantity of logbooks in. Okay, let's place our big bomb. Let's detonate it. And you're going to see too, even with things like, Expedition, we're able to just fully clear out the Expedition. No problems at all. That mob hit us. Our energy shield is draining. We hit a mob. Boom. Back up to just full energy shield without any issues at all. you know, people would have been like, oh my God, that hit would have killed me. Like, what the heck? Like, this is terrible. I got hit, I died. I'm like, hey, you know, like sometimes you die. Now coming over here, you know, you see, we just come on over to the ritual. We hit everything right away and everything goes fine. Okay, now we do this, hit this. Now, if you're saying, well, what kind of map mods should I avoid? What should I not run? I would say if you're going to avoid any kind of map mods, I would avoid minus max res. Minus max res is an absolute nightmare to run. Very difficult to survive. No matter what you do, minus max is always an absolute nightmare. Other map mods that I would avoid double map mod effect that gives Fizz as extra. You know, Fizz is extra lightning, fine, but if it doubles up, I would avoid having it double up. And maybe Fizz is chaos, I'd probably avoid, just simply because we're not chaos capped. You know, you want to make sure you avoid that. Other things to note that are really, really, really important. Evasion in itself is an insanely strong stat, but it will not save you from ground degens. Evasion itself, once again, is a really strong stat, but it will not save you from ground slams or big AoEs. You see, we didn't die there. Great, beautiful, boom, one spear, full health. You know, so evasion, while it's a fantastic stat, does have its downsides. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of what you're getting into playing with evasion. Overall, though, evasion is very, very, very strong. You shouldn't have too much of a hard time with evasion. And as you scale your gear a little bit higher and a little bit higher, you'll get tankier and tankier and tankier, and things will start to just feel better and better. I had told players, you know, in the last video that getting defensive is just going to be a small money sink. Now, there are other options that we can do outside of what we talked about in today's video. There are ways to get even tankier. There are other options, including things like high resire and going super deep into evasion and just playing around like that. But that is more of an investment, and it's going to be a lot of changes to gear. There is a world where I do go down that route and try it. There is a world where I am going to explore it. But currently, in the way things are going, I want to try a little bit of other things and explore early access for a lot of early access. But I love my Lightning Spear Huntress. You know, nothing's really changed. The character is completely crazy. And now that we're a little bit more defensive, you see it's going to be pretty smooth to push into, you know, more levels. You know, I think it'd be really cool to like hit like 93, 94, and 95 and just get a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger, just kind of see what happens. But you see with this map, we've taken plenty of hits in this map, and we've just, you know, we've brushed off. Sure, you had the dodge roll here and there, maybe press your life flask once in a while, but overall, it's a lot stronger than what we were yesterday. And even our damage is still there. Now, when you go into big pinnacle bosses might require a little bit more damage. You might want to make some swaps to some more damage, but overall you should be fine. King of the Mist earlier wasn't too bad. We were able to do it, no problem. You know, the tornado that, you know, is a complete death sentence isn't as bad anymore because you have leech, and you just have ways to just not completely fall over. All right, let us clear this bad boy breach and be disappointed at mob density. Oh, breach, how you've killed it. One day our baby will be back. One day there will be mobs in breach again. One day there'll be density again. Ooh, a sea glass spear. Gimme, 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 gimme. Oh, I want this one breach splinter. One. Maybe one day they'll like make it so that all the loot from breach just drops at the end like a blight explosion. That would be so sick. Like the breach closes and then all the loot just drops out of it. That would be awesome. That would be fantastic. Okay. Oh, nice. Another result. Let's go. All right. That's it. That's the map. These are the changes that we've made. If you have questions about the changes, or you want to like have ideas that will expand the defenses even more, feel free to leave a comment down below. Come stop by the live stream, the Discord. Let us know what you guys are doing. If you have problems and you have questions, feel free to leave them down below. Any good constructive criticism on how to make this better is always welcome. But for now, I hope this solves a lot of your issues. I'm, like I said, going to experiment a little bit more with this and just kind of see where it goes from here. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.